Centre will continue to monitor critical and vulnerable areas around Gauteng today and for the rest of the weekend. They're on high alert as more heavy rain and thunderstorms is expected. Several provinces are bracing for further floods as more severe thunderstorms are predicted in Gauteng and parts of Mpumalanga, Limpopo, the Northwest, the Free State and KwaZulu-Natal. Thunderstorms this week, accompanied by hail, have already caused havoc around Gauteng. Large parts of Pretoria East were left flooded and an electrical storm caused more flight delays at OR Tambo Airport in Kempton Park. Floods have already claimed a number of lives in the Johannesburg and Ekurhuleni areas. Motorists have been warned to drive very carefully. And Joburg Emergency Services have resumed the search for the 3-year-old Alexandra girl who was swept away during a flash flood on Wednesday afternoon. The swollen Yukskay River overflowed, resulting in the flooding of the Situetla informal settlement near the riverbanks in Alex. The toddler was washed away by raging waters after the tree that she and her father had climbed up for safety gave way. Yesterday, the search was called off because of the heavy rains. A number of drownings have been reported in Johannesburg and Ekurhuleni since the rains began. All right, well, with the warnings from the South African Weather Service of continuous possible heavy rainfall, severe thunderstorms and flash flooding across parts of the country this weekend, let's get more now from SABC meteorologist Philip Hawkins. Philip, welcome. Thanks for joining us. So how much longer are we going to be seeing this heavy rain, and are we going to be seeing these storms in, continuing on this scale?
Yeah, well, the rainfall's not going to stop anytime soon up here in the northeast. It's good news on the one hand, because when we get days like today, so far today, we've been getting driving rainfall, which is not particularly heavy in most parts, and that's the kind of rainfall we need to stop this drought. But unfortunately today, it is going to get worse. We do have forecasts coming through which are showing some very similar signs that we saw on Tuesday. So unfortunately, it's looking like it's going to be another severe thunderstorm day, especially for South Africa's northeast and specifically for Johannesburg's East Rand.
All right, so you mentioned helping to alleviate the drought, but that brings me to my question of, are these rains causing more harm than good? What about the farmers? Do they appreciate these sort of rains, or does it kind of wash away all the topsoil? What's the impact? Are the dams actually getting full?
Yeah, look, the topsoil is one issue. Hail destroys crops, as we all know, so that's a whole nother issue in itself. The rainfall that we need is, like I say, a driving rainfall that's not too heavy, that gets into the groundwater. That's really what we need. And unfortunately, it's not really what we're getting at the moment. We're getting some very hard, very heavy showers and thunder showers coming in, and those really aren't good for anybody. They wash away a lot of stuff into our drainage systems, into our dams, into our rivers, which are really not good for those ecosystems. They, of course, as you see, they destroy infrastructure, they affect people's lives. Not to say that this is all we're going to see throughout the rest of the season, but we are forecasting this at least for this afternoon.
So a monthly forecast for summer, they talk of La Nina. Is this, are we going to be seeing the driving rain like you talk about, the La Nina pattern where we have above average rainfall?
We'll start to see a driving rain coming in a little bit later into this season. Of course, this season doesn't have long to go.
Yeah.
But as we move into summer, we're going to see some more rainfall coming in, and that's the kind of rainfall that we need. So there is good news afoot. Because of El Nino, we're not seeing a very strong La Nina system at the moment. So it shouldn't be a much wetter, depending on where you are in the country, but it shouldn't be a much wetter summer than we usually expect either.
Philip, is this climate change or global warming, or what's the difference? Is there a difference? I mean, we know that global temperatures have increased, and you're smiling because obviously there's something, explain this to us. Well,
there's a definite difference between climate change and global warming. Climate change is something that's natural and normal and has occurred, and that's the reason that we see cyclical events of ice ages and so on over the course of tens or hundreds of thousands of years. Whereas global warming implies that it's all our fault. And so global warming is just a theory, really. Some people believe in it, some people don't. Whereas climate change is a definite thing that is happening. The difference, though, is that we do we do have an effect on that, and that we exacerbate it. So what we are starting to see now is a lot more severe weather events. So the drought is an example of that, and now all of a sudden we're getting floods. That's the kind of thing that comes from climate change. That's the kind of thing that we are exacerbating to an extent, but yes, it is a natural cycle, and unfortunately this kind of thing does appear to be coming in more and more often, severe weather events such as this.
All right, Philip, thank you very much. Our meteorologist, Philip Hawkins, with a bit more analysis on these severe weather patterns that we've been seeing.